Hello friends, welcome to my YouTube channel Computer Science Classes by Nikhil Srivastava. And in this video we will study about operator overloading. So we have already studied about operator overloading, and we saw how can we overload, unary operators and binary operators. All that we saw, this is what we saw. For example, we took the class distance and we overloaded some binary operator. For example, this plus was one binary operators. We saw how we can be overloaded, then greater than and plus equal to. All these binary operator I overloaded. Now today we will try to understand how can we overload operators with the help of friend functions. So if you are aware of what are friend functions, then I will just going to revise that friend functions are not member functions of the class, but they are allowed to access the private members of the class, and they do not directly access the private members of a class. They access the private members of a class through the object of the class. So these are friend functions. So if you want to create a friend function, then how do you create a friend function? You create a friend function by writing the keyword friend. Okay. So now what I want to do, I have, for example, I'll just remove this code. It's not relevant. I'll just remove this code, and I create an object of the distance class. Suppose d1, and d1, suppose I say the length is 5 foot 6 inches, and then I create another object of the distance class. Suppose d2, and say suppose it is 5 foot 3 inches. This is the way it is, and then I want to add d1 plus d2. Okay, I want to add d1 plus d2, and suppose I say that distance d3 equal to d1 plus d2. So over here I want to overload this plus operator. So what we have seen till now, is that if we overload the plus operator, then the operand on the LHS makes a call to the overloaded operator function, the overloaded operator function, and the second argument is passed as an argument. But my dear friends, when we are overloading through the friend function, then keep this thing in mind that both the LHS, sorry, the LHS on the operand on the LHS and the operand on the RHS are passed as an argument to the friend function. For example, in this case, d1 is the operand on the LHS and d2 is the operand on the RHS. So both of them will be passed as an argument to the friend function. So how it will be done? So one thing more you can observe is that the sum of d1 and d2 is being passed to d3. That means the return type of this friend function itself will be of type distance. So return type is of distance operator, and which operator I want to overload? The distance, the plus operator I want to overload. And in this I will take one object of type distance and the other object also of type distance. So in this way I created the friend function. So now I will go on to this is just the declaration of the friend function. So outside the class I am just going to define the friend function. So how I will define the friend function. So what is so once you make the declaration, then you write friend. So this function means it is a friend of the distance class. This function is a friend of the distance class. So once you define the friend function, you need not write the keyword friend. You just go on to write the return type. So return type is of distance, and what is the name of the function? It is operator, and then two arguments, distance d1 and distance d2. Okay, these two arguments are being passed as arguments. Okay, these two are being passed as arguments. So the code over here is very much similar to what I have written over here. If I just copy it, if I just copy this code, and then I'll just paste it over here and then perform some modifications. So how will I perform the modifications? So the temporary distance object that has to be written will always be created. This will always be done. And here I'm writing this arrow feed. So this arrow feed, in the previous example it meant the current object feed, but over here it will means d1 dot feed, and here it will mean d2 dot feed. Okay. And then also similarly in this case I will write d2 dot inches and plus d1 dot inches. I'm going to write like this. All right. I'm just going to remove this arrow. All right. Yeah. d1 dot inches plus d2 dot inches, and then I have written, so now I perform the usual calculations, you know, till the inches, total inches is greater than 12, I keep on subtracting 12 from the total sum of inches, and then I keep on incrementing the feet by 1. Okay, why? Because 12 inches is equal to 1 foot. Okay, all right. So now I have written this temp. So temp is holding the sum of d1 and d2. All right, it is something like this. So let me do one thing over here. When I have let me comment this piece of code, because you know this is calling the overloaded operator function. This is the member function of the distance class, and I want to overload the plus operator through the friend function. This is what we have seen. This is overloading the plus operator through our usual way, in which it is an instance member, and you know the operand on the LHS was the current object, and on the RHS was being passed as an argument. So let me comment out this piece of code, and let me comment out the declaration for this piece of code also. All right, like this. And then what I will do, I will so d3 is having the sum of d1 and d2. I will say d3 dot show distance. Okay, I will say something like this, and then I will go to clean and build and run this application. Let us go and see what is the output. The output. Okay, all right. Yeah, build successful. And now when I go and run this application, run, just see what is the output. The distance is 10 feet and 9 inches. Yeah, and it is justified. Why it is justified? Because you see over here d3 dot show distance. So d1 is 5 foot 6 inches and d2 is 5 foot 3 inches. That the sum will be 10 foot and 9 inches. So this is justified. We can justify the whole output also. Suppose what is the whole output? I'll just minimize this. What is the whole output? If you oh sorry, I'll just run this application again and just see, you know, just verify the output. Yeah. Just minimize it, and then I'll open it. Okay, like this. Oh, like this. So inside the main function, suppose when you are creating distance d1, then the constructor is parameterized constructor is called. Then you create d2, then again the parameterized constructor is called. And then once inside this inside the class, when you are creating object of say suppose distance temp, when you're creating inside a temporary object inside the overloaded operator function, then again the default constructor is being called, and then the output is being displayed as what? The output is being displayed as a you know, it is being displayed as d3 is equal to d1 plus d2. All right, like this. So I'll just close it and I'll maximize it. Okay, so this is what we have seen till now, and there is one thing that you can do on your own. You can add a overloaded copy constructor in this in the distance class, and then you can see what will be the output in that case also. Okay, just try to do it on your own. We have, if you have any confusion, then you can watch my videos of copy constructors. All right, so friend functions can also add some flexibility to operator overloading in some cases. Let us see what are those cases. But now what I want to do, in order to study those cases, let us do one thing. I want to do something like this. I want to say d1 plus say suppose 40. I want to say d1 plus 40. So what I will mean if I say d1 plus 40, I will mean that add 40 inches to the distance d1. Okay, if I say d1 plus 40, then I mean that you add 40 inches to d1. So this is my overloaded constructor. When I say something like this, then I mean that you add 40 inches to d1. So I will do it with the help of friend function. So I can even do it with the help of instance function, and I can also do it with the help of friend function. So if I do it with the help of instance function, then in that case this object will be the current object, and this object, the 40 which is on the RHS, will be passed as an argument. And if I do it through a friend function, then both of them has to be passed as an argument. So what I will do is, for the sake of clarity, I will cover both of the cases. So first of all, let us try to do overload this this thing with the help of the instance function, creating an overloaded instance function for doing this thing. What do I mean when I say that I am creating an overloaded instance function for adding 40 inches to the distance? So I mean something like this. So here, when I say, so this is your declarations. Inside the declaration, I will say something like this: distance operator plus and integer inc. Suppose I say inch. So what does this mean? This means that the return type is distance. Then the operator that has to be overloaded is the plus operator, and the argument that is being passed is the amount of inches that has to be added to the total distance. Okay, it is something like this. So over here, I am going to, so this was just the declaration, then I am going to define. So how I am going to define? I am going to define what is the return type. It is of type distance. What is the class name? It is distance. And then the scope resolution operator, and in operator, which operator? The plus operator, and then it is taking an integer argument, that is the total amount of inches that has to be added to it. Okay, so what I will do, suppose I will go to this paint, and suppose you have a distance, say suppose, so this is just pure mathematical type of thing. Suppose you have 5 over here, suppose yeah, okay, 1 minute. Suppose it is something like this, that you have 5 foot and 3 inches, and then you want to add 20 inches to it. So I am going to approach it. You can have different approach. I am going to first of all convert it to total amount of inches. So for what will be the total amount of inches? It will be 5 into 12 plus 3. Then that will be equal to 12 5 is 60, 63, and then plus 20, it will be equal to then 83. And this is the total amount of inches, and then again I will convert into feet and inches. So like this way I will keep on, I will do it. So let us try to do it. So over here, first of all, so it is I think it can be a little boring for you because it is pure mathematical stuff. So suppose I say total inches equal to what? It will be equal to the current object feet into 12 plus the current object inches plus the amount of inch that we want to add. So this will be the total amount of inches. Okay, this and here I can say something like this: distance temp, a temporary variable of type distance. Okay, and then I can do something like this. Yeah, I will not say total inches. I can say temp dot inches is equal to this, and then I will write this for loop. Okay, I can write this for loop, and inside this I'll just paste it, and then I will return temp. Okay, all right. So my dear friends, just remember that I am overloading this plus operator not with the help of friend function. This is just the normal instance function, and I will after this I will just overload it with the help of a friend function to make things clear. So here, if you go and suppose you comment out this code, and then you write distance d3 equal to d1 plus 40, and then you say d3 dot show distance. So what will be the output? If I just go and I will write see out over here the function for adding inches to distance has been called. Okay, and then I will add a new line. Alright, now I will just go. So this is just as a proof, so that we can say that this this overloaded operator function has been called. Oh, there is some error. Okay, what is the error? Okay, I think if I just add this, I think then the error will go away. Let us go again and clean and build this application. Again it is giving some error. Okay, temp dot inches equal to this arrow feet. So this is the distance in feet into 12. That means the feet of the current object into 12 plus this arrow inches plus inch. So I don't know what is the kind of error that. Okay, alright, yeah, I got it. I had added integer before it, so this was not the case. Again, I'll just go and clean and build this. I think now it will run fine. Yeah, it is running successfully, and then I will go and run this application. Okay, see, the distance is 8 feet and 10 inches. Is this output justified? Just go. Suppose the distance is 5 foot and 6 inches, and then you add 40 inches to it. So you can, I mean, we can perform this mathematical calculation if you want. Suppose what is the distance? It is 5 foot and 6 inches. So if I just go over here, it is 5 foot and 6 inches. Then this will be equal to 12 into 5 plus 6 plus 40. The new amount of new inches that we want to add. See over here. Okay. So what it will be, 12 feet, 12 5 is 60, then 66 plus 40. So it will be equal to 106. And what the output we are getting? The output that we are getting is, if I just clean and build this, and then if I run it, then what is the output we are getting? 8 feet and 10 inches. So what is 8 feet and 10 inches? 8 feet and 10 inches. So over here if you go 8 feet and 10 inches. So that is equal to 12 into 8 plus 10. That is equal to 96 plus 10, and that is equal to 106. So this is the output is justified. So this is, I just did it so that you can justify the output, that it is coming out to be correct. I'll just minimize it. And now, my dear friends, without taking much of your time, I will try to perform the same operation with the friend function. So always remember that when you were not doing it with the help of friend function, then the operand on the LHS was making a call to the overloaded operator function. But now when you do it with the help of friend function, then both of them will be passed as an argument. So how will I do it? I will first of all I will make the declaration for this. How will I make the declaration? I will make the declaration something like this. So in order to declare a friend function, you use the keyword friend. Then what is the return type? It is of type distance. And then what is the operator? The operator is a plus operator. And then you have two arguments. The first is the distance, and the second argument is of type int. Okay, and I will again, to not have clashes, I will comment out this piece of code, and over here from here also I will just comment out this piece of code. And now I will write to I have declared the function. Now I will define it. So what is the return type? Distance. What is the name of the function? Operator plus, and it is taking two arguments. One is of type distance d and other is of type the amount of inches that has to be added. And we can see that the code in this case also will be almost similar to what we have done over what we have done over here. If I just go copy this code and uncomment it, and we can write, instead of writing this dot feet, I will write d dot feet. Okay, and instead of writing this this arrow inches, I will write d dot inches plus inch. Okay, so if you do this also, then also the output will be, it will be justified. So here I will write the friend function for adding inches to distance has been called. Okay, so when I go clean and build, and now I run this application, see, the friend function for adding inches to distance has been called, and then again you are getting the same output. The distance is 8 feet and 10 inches. So this kind of overloading friend function can add some kind of flexibility in your code. What kind of flexibility it can offer? Suppose you say, I say that you don't add, suppose over here I have set d1 plus 40. Then I don't want to say d1 plus 40. I want to say 40 plus d1. I want to say something like this. So if it was d1 plus 40, then if you are overloading this plus operator through normal instance functions, then d1 will be the current object which will make a call. The operand of the LHS will make a call to the overloaded operator function. But if I say 40 plus d1, then on the LHS you have an integer. An integer, it is not a kind of object of the distance class, so it cannot make a call to the overloaded operator function. So in this case, what I need, I need to overload the plus operator with the help of friend function. So this is what I want to do. So in this case, what I will do something like this. Again, I will create a friend function. Return type will be of distance. The operator will remain to be the same, that is a plus operator, but in this case the first argument will be of type int and the second argument will be of type distance. And this code, it is quite easy to write this code. How? Like this. Copy, and then I will go to paste this code, and here if you go, the first argument is the amount of inches that has to be added to the distance, and the second argument is the distance itself. Okay, so here you see you are overloading again yeah, it is doing something like this. So I can also write something like this. See out the new overloaded friend function has been called. Okay, I can write something like this, and then I add a new line to it. Okay, all right, yeah, I do something like this. So this is, I have just I have added this cout statement print for just proving that this function is actually getting called. So over here, when I write 40, d3 is equal to 40 plus d1, then clean and build, and then once when I go and run this application, see what is the output. The new overloaded friend function has been called. The friend function for adding inches to distance has been called, and then again it is performing the same thing, and then the output is again 8 feet and 10 inches. Okay, it is something like this, and this is it can be a classic example of what you call as operator overloading, or you can understand what do you actually understand by overloading. So you have the same function over here, you see you have the same function, the same function is the operator plus function over here, you know, but you are having two overloaded version of the same function. One is having first an argument as integer and then the second argument as distance, and this function is having the first argument as of type distance and the second argument as of type int. So these are two overloaded function, and depending upon the argument list that you supply, the exact version of the overloaded function will be called. Suppose I say d1 plus 40. If I say something like this, then you know this line, the new overloaded function has been called, will not be printed on the console. If you just go and clean and build this, and then when you go and run this application, see, the friend function for adding inches to distance has been called. So that means which overloaded friend function was called? This particular overloaded friend function was called. So yeah. So in this way, you see friend functions can add some flexibility, because once when you say d1 plus 40, then you know you can do it with the help of instance functions of the class. But once when you say 40 plus d1, then it is not possible, because on the LHS you are having an integer. An integer cannot make a call; it can never be a current object. So this way, friend functions, overloading through friend functions can add some flexibility to your operator overloading. Okay. So thank you so much. It was a lengthy video. I mean, thank you so much for watching it, and please do subscribe to my videos, and please do tell what all do I need to improve my style of teaching. Thank you so much.